Wow, I'm on the 11th YouTube video of the year and we're still only in February. This is the 11th audio in the series Materials Supporting the Elizabeth McSweeney Fibromyalgia Road to Recovery ebook series. And as usual, I'm going to start this session with gratitudes. Now, no matter what kind of day you're having today, please take this moment to think about just one thing today that you can feel truly grateful for. Maybe that spring is in the air. Gratitudes brighten up the neurons in your brain, and if you have fibromyalgia, you can look forward to the damp weather disappearing and with it your joint pains disappearing. Don't think about the pain and the damp weather. Try and refocus. Don't tell me now that if you get too hot that your joints hurt as well. What I want you to do is remember a time before you had fibromyalgia. That sense of warmth, relaxation, and energy. Great. Now the sun is shining on you, you are ready for this session. It's really important and crucial if you're going to take those steps towards recovery from fibromyalgia that you focus on even just a millisecond of your day where you can forget about it. Now, I'm not for 1 minute implying or suggesting that fibromyalgia is all in your mind. On the contrary, I know it is a very physical condition, experienced on every level, right down to the cellular level. However, it is also a condition that affects your mind and your soul, your spirit. So, in order to recover, you must train your mind to focus only on recovery and allow yourself to heal your body, your mind, and your spirit. Now, I've noticed that the average listening time to these audios is just 2 or 3 minutes, so please don't leave. We're nearly at 2 or 3 minutes now. I'm going to try and entice you to stay with me today by letting you know that we will be revealing all 7 of the healing principles, that is, all 7 of the keys that helped me during my recovery from fibromyalgia. So we're going to reveal them today. And well, they're already in the books, but in the audios we're going to reveal them. So before I recovered, I was ill, suffering from the symptoms of this syndrome for 12 years. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia for 7, and I was so disabled by the condition that I had a blue badge here in the UK. That's a disabled person's transport badge, and I received disability living allowance and personal support allowance. So I was pretty screwed by the condition. That was 10 years ago. I was 44 years old when I began to recover, and now, a decade later, I have been medication-free, symptom-free and fibro-free for 10 years. Woo! So I know that many amazing people really fought for fibromyalgia to be recognised as a chronic illness and a disability, to give us rights when we're ill, and it's really important, and I don't want to undermine or undervalue that at all, but it is also important to remember that it doesn't have to be a lifelong condition. It's not impossible to recover. It is difficult, but it's not impossible. I recovered, and if I could do it, then so can you. So there is hope. And now I'm going to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me again, because it means that you have found me again, and that signifies as much to me as it does to you, or it should to you, that you are yearning to find a way for recovery from fibromyalgia. And I can share how I recovered, my path, my journey, what led me to publishing these books that are available on Amazon, the links below. You are welcome to follow my path. You may find that now you have made this determination through yearning to recover, that a different healing path will just now appear for you, that doors will open or frameworks will manifest to support you. I can only share you with my journey, what I have learnt, and if you want to look at some other inspirations of people that have recovered from fibromyalgia, I'm not the only one, you might look at the experiences and testimonials of Dan Nufa on his website CFS Unravelled. Now, I'm not the only person to recover, and he's got lots of testimonials, not just about his technique, but people who've recovered in other ways. He did actually ask to interview me, and I wasn't really ready to talk about it, but I am now. So In previous YouTube audios and in volume 5 of the ebooks, Elizabeth McSweeney, Fibromyalgia Road to Recovery, we discussed the first 3 healing principles, or the first 3 keys that I use to recover. Now, the first one, the need to heal to recover from trauma. I want you to reframe how you think about and experience fibromyalgia. I want you to stop thinking of it as a permanent lifelong condition and realize that it's not an illness, though it is a dis-ease. The pain is in fact your body's way of taking time out to heal on a deep, deep, deep level. Fibromyalgia is trauma related. Now, I know this for 2 reasons, because before writing these books and while I was still discovering my own path towards recovery, I undertook some research in collaboration with Fibromyalgia Association UK. That's over 10 years ago. So many thanks to Pam Stewart, who was the chair of the association, for facilitating that. And everyone who responded to my questions also wrote to me about the multiple traumas they had experienced, often unresolved, since childhood. Now, in my case, I had a head injury in a car crash and I was consequently raped. I became pregnant through that and had to terminate the pregnancy for medical reasons related to the head injury, and consequently I ended up in an abusive relationship, a constant cycle of domestic violence, of fight or flight, that one for many years, and then widowed as a single parent of a young child. Now, one day I had a bad day at work and I just woke up catatonic with pain, staring at the ceiling, unable to move. My body simply could not take anymore. I had survived 10 years of ongoing continual trauma, and one day my body just said no, no more. Everything is too painful. And I read many similar stories of people suffering from multiple unresolved traumas. It's like the pain gate in our neurological system just gets to overload, and from that moment everything, and I mean everything, even the slightest draft or flash of light, can trigger physical pain and muscle spasm, which of course is exhausting. Traumas can be physical, emotional, or mental, and a continual cycle of fight or flight, but if left unresolved, unhealed, the memory stays with us, remembered in what Eckhart Tolle referred to as the pain body. Now, the other reason that I know fibromyalgia is trauma-related is because I use several techniques to finally help overcome post-traumatic stress, and they formed part of my journey to full recovery from fibromyalgia symptoms. I use a therapy called EMDR, rapid eye movement. So it's eye movement desensitization. I don't know what the R is. Rapid eye movement desensitization. That would be REMD, rapid eye movement desensitization. Anyway, look up EMDR, and also treatment from a fantastic homeopath called Josephine Smaldon from Chedsey in Somerset, and she really treated my essence right back into the womb. I was adopted and I was taken from my mother at 3 days old, so I guess that was one of the original traumas. I also took a course by Dr. Trevor Griffiths called The 7 Stepping Stones Approach to Unrecognised Losses. And then I devised a tapping technique that I called FFT, Fibromyalgia Freedom Technique, based on the original EFT tapping technique of Gary Craig, but incorporating special kinesiology and shiatsu points just for fibromyalgia. Now, there's some diagrams and explanations of my FFT technique in the books. I'll also pop up a separate video, but if you do have fibromyalgia and you'd like to learn this technique to self-administer your pain without medications, I can now take on private clients for up to 4 sessions. I haven't really done that for a lot of the 10 years. I've decided not to, but I'm now in a position to do that. Now, these sessions currently work out, so we're in January 2020. In the UK, they currently work out about £600. But don't quote me on that. So there you have it. The first healing principle that formed the framework for my recovery from fibromyalgia is healing trauma. Now, in order to fully recover from fibromyalgia, you need to allow yourself to heal on a very deep level, your body, your mind, and your soul. And now we're about and a half minutes in. And in another 5 minutes, I'm going to reveal to you the third healing principle, or the third key to recovery. But first, let's look at that healing principle number 2 again. The second healing principle, or key to recovery from fibromyalgia, is about cracking that insomnia pain cycle. The sleep disturbance, which is a problematic symptom of fibromyalgia, may look upon it as a causal relationship. You know, the sleep makes the pain worse, the pain makes the sleep worse. I've spoken a lot about this vicious cycle of sleep disturbance and waking up feeling more pain than you are the night before, and this leading to more sleep disturbance. We created a Yoga Nidra sleep meditation at the end of the second audio support in this series, and ironically I couldn't sleep the other night because I stayed up all night listening to some relaxation music. So however, when I was listening to it, what I really should have been doing was maybe looking at a track of binaural beats. So I didn't wake up in fact the next day, and I woke up quite refreshed, and that's all the proof I need to know that I have been recovered from fibromyalgia for a long time now. The opioids and some other prescribed medications you may have from your specialist or doctor could actually be causing you sleep disturbance. So do take a read of the relevant chapters in the ebooks. Take the research and information in them to your GP or your doctor. Now, I would recommend not just stopping opiates, but stopping all medication under medical supervision, of course, and not all at once. So when I'm tired, in pain, or stressed or anxious these days, I just take a taste of my own medicine from our range of CBD and broad spectrum whole cannabis plant extracts. Now, you can find them on Amazon UK under my UK brand name, Green Lotus Art of Cannabis. There's one more top tip, a bit of a trick that will help you get to sleep, and this one is beauty. There's 4 things you can take before you go to bed: CBD, or whole plant cannabis extract, arnica tablets, that's arnica homeopathy tablets, 1 sublingual under the tongue, melts, and that is really good for pain as well as sleep. And the last 2, simply a glass or tumbler of water. Now, you must drink a whole glass of water before you go to bed, no arguing with me, and 1 flake of pure sea salt. Now, that is the one with the potassium and sodium combination. Now, you place the flake under your tongue and let it melt, just like a homeopathic tablet or any other sublingual tablet. Now, if you want to understand the science behind this simple drinking water, staying hydrated, and using a flake of sea salt to get to sleep, you can read about it in my ebooks, and I explain there the research of Dr. Batman Jalij. Now, you can also read his books. So Dr. Batman Jalij, he wrote some amazing books called The Healing Power of Water. Is that what he called them? Or am I just making that up because that's one of my healing principles? Your body's cry. Your body's many cry. Your body's many cries for water, by Dr. Batman Jalij. So that's the top tip. Massive glass of water before you go to bed. Sea salt flake under the tongue. I promise you'll be out within 20 minutes. So now at around 11 or 12 minutes, as promised, this brings me to reveal healing principle number 3, or the third key to recovery, which is total deacidification of your body. Now, I've spoken about this in previous audio support materials, and I will recap it very briefly here. I don't want to keep you waiting more than another 5 minutes before I reveal the healing principle number 4, or the 4th key to recovery. So that's in about 5 minutes' time. First, that relationship between cellular acidification and fibromyalgia. It's well cited and researched, and if you want to read the medical research behind it, you'll have to delve deeper into the ebooks, so just follow the link below. So that crucial third healing principle, or key towards your recovery, will be alkaline diet, strict alkaline diet, and I mean strict, at least until we can bring your natural pH balance or cellular level back to where it should be. And you will know when this has been rebalanced because your pain will slowly disappear. So it's not about chucking a few alkaline recipes into your day. It's about absolutely deacidifying your body. Okay, very strict. Again, if you want to look at the science behind this and find some tasty alkalizing main menus while you're at it, delve into volumes 4 and 5 of the ebooks, or listen to some of the other previous free audio materials in the series. Now that was actually less than 5 minutes, so as I promised, I can now reveal the fourth healing principle or key to recovery that supported my own journey through fibromyalgia and out the other side. And that fourth healing principle, as I promised, is the body tapping and rubbing techniques. I've actually already spoken to you about them, so there's no secret there. They're already in the books as well. The body tapping and rubbing techniques such as EFT protocol, kinesiology, Touch for Health, and the framework that I devised and I named FFT. Now, I've already spoken about it, so it wasn't a secret, but I would like to spend another 5 to 10 minutes sharing more information about it. Now, based on the premise that all negative emotion is a disruption in the body's energy system, and the acceptance that emotional traumas contribute to physical disease, EFT, short for Emotional Freedom Technique, draws on experiences from the healing fields of affirmation, cognitive behavioural therapy, kinesiology, and acupressure, and it involves a simple basic recipe of affirmations and body tapping points. It was first described in the EFT manual by the founder Gary Craig. Now, it would be wrong of me to republish his original manuals here, but there is a clear explanation and introductory video on, I think his website's www.emofree. Now, because of my experience as a holistic therapist, I had instant resonance with this technique because it does at first sound bonkers, but I used it to successfully alleviate my own physical pain of fibromyalgia long enough not only to remember what it's like to be pain-free, but also to come off all of my pain medication. So I would recommend you learn the FFT technique in the books. I replaced dependency on buprenorphine patches, gabapentin, naproxen, paracetamol, and other drugs with EFT, or replacing some of the tapping points. Within 5 days, I came off all those drugs, but obviously then the morphine withdrawal kicked in. And I then turned to homeopathy, and that is principle number 5, which we will talk about later. So there's much debate about whether EFT is the most efficient, whether the original EFT protocol or whether we should deviate from it. Now, even founder Gary Craig and his daughter Tina have developed and improved and changed the technique over time. My experience came from the kinesiology background, and I also know from experience that many people suffering from fibromyalgia feel quite disturbed by the tapping, which can be registered as pain. So, with some of the EFT points, identical points, I've replaced them as rubbing points in the FFT protocol, and I've also introduced new points specifically to help you overcome fibromyalgia. I learnt these points through Touch for Health, which was a technique by John F. Thie, originated in 1979. Now, for these reasons, I choose to rub some of the points in a circular motion instead of tapping them. And the great thing about these techniques is that not only can you go to see a therapist who can help you using this technique, or a practitioner who does it to you to help you, but it is a self-help technique. It's something you can learn yourself to apply to yourself whenever you need to, and therefore take back some agency, out of your illness and some agency in your movement towards recovery. The version of tapping protocol I used on myself can be found in Appendix 3 of ebook volume 5, and this is my FFT, fibro-free tapping protocol. Because I incorporated the tapping pressure points from kinesiology and shiatsu specifically to help you recover from fibromyalgia, and replaced some of those tapping points with rubbing and deep healing points. Now, the wonderful thing about FFT is that it is soothing and it can take your pain away. You can learn to do it for yourself, which is the most fantastic thing. And now it's something that you can then use and reuse to eradicate pain without having to become dependent on addictive pain medications. So that's Healing Principles 1, 2, 3 and 4, or the first 4 keys to your recovery from fibromyalgia. Healing Principles 5, 6 and 7 are the principles of homeopathy and anthroposophic medicine, the 2 healing properties of water, and number 7, the Buddhist principle of Esho Funi, the oneness of life and its environment. You might have remembered me saying before that I am a Buddhist, and without my Buddhist faith, I would have found it difficult to recover. That doesn't mean you have to be a Buddhist to recover from fibromyalgia, that's nonsense. But the Buddhist principle, Esho Funi, the oneness of life and its environment, is a very important tenet. So, the next audio, which I think is audio 12 now, will still be supporting materials for ebook volume 5 in the Elizabeth McSweeney Road to Recovery books series. So if you want the books, the link is below. But for now, just thank you for listening today, and do join me next time when I will be discussing in more detail healing principles, or the keys to recovery from fibromyalgia, those principles 5, 6 and 7. Meanwhile, if you need any of the resources mentioned throughout this series, do come and find us at lotusnaturalhealing.co.uk, or look out for Lotus Green Lounge Limited CBD and Art of Cannabis products on Amazon. Okay, love you loads. Bye for now.